Gary Neville slams Manchester United's treatment of World Cup winner as illegal. Former Manchester United midfielder Bastian Schweinsteiger has opened up on his acrimonious exit from Old Trafford in 2017, with Gary Neville describing the club's treatment as illegal. Gary Neville has slammed Manchester United's treatment of Bastian Schweinsteiger as illegal, after the former Germany international revealed he was made to train with the club's under-16 team during the summer of 2016. The 39-year-old spent 2 seasons at Old Trafford after signing from Bayern Munich on a 3-year deal for a cut price £6.8 million. The playmaker was a part of manager Louis van Gaal's plans, but after he was sacked and replaced by Jose Mourinho, Schweinsteiger was banished from first-team training upon his return from the European Championship in August 2016 as Mourinho settled on a core squad ahead of the new season. United were on the verge of signing Paul Pogba for a world record £89 million. Mourinho instructed the club to offer Michael Carrick a new contract, assured Marouane Fellaini he would not be sold, and also had Ander Herrera and Morgan Schneiderlin in midfield. After sustaining a knee injury in the narrow FA Cup third-round win against Sheffield United on January 9, Schweinsteiger only made 4 substitute appearances in the 2015-16 season, yet travelled to Dubai, Miami, and Stuttgart to watch his partner, tennis player Ana Ivanovic. The German's jet-setting annoyed senior members of the United dressing room, which Mourinho got wind of as he prepared to replace Van Gaal. Schweinsteiger was banished from United's first-team dressing room and spent the summer of 2016 training with the club's youth sides, before he was sold to Major League Soccer outfit Chicago Fire in March 2017. Schweinsteiger returned to United team training in late October, and Mourinho publicly admitted he regretted his treatment of the World Cup winner. Recalling the end of his time at United, Schweinsteiger revealed how he thought he was the subject of a cruel joke when he was initially told to train with the club's under-16 side. It was 2016 and I was with the German national team. We went far in the competition, Euros, reaching the semi-finals, so I stepped in a little later, at United, and the team were in the US for a pre-season tour, said Schweinsteiger. When I arrived on the first day, I trained with Zlatan Ibrahimovic and thought it was great, a player who has the vision and is amazing to play with. The next day, on my birthday, when I walked into Carrington, John Murtough was there and said that I wasn't allowed to walk into the dressing room. The coach had said so. No warning, nothing. I don't know. Someone could have told me there, on my first day of training, or explained it to me in a normal way, but okay, I went to the youth dressing room and trained with the under-16s. Yes, completely, kicked me out of the first-team dressing room, so I had to ask him, Murtough, to bring me my boots and training gear. I asked him who I was training with, and he said there was the under-16 team. So I went and trained with the under-16s. I asked him whether I could talk to the manager in the afternoon, so when I came back from training with the under-16s, where I trained so bad because I didn't know what was going on or it was a joke, I then had a meeting with Jose Mourinho in the afternoon. He explained to me that he didn't see me happy here at United because when I had my injury, I did my rehab with German doctors, spending time in Germany. Of course, I came back to United and was in contact with doctors and watched the games. I had a conversation with Louis van Gaal when he was coach, and he said to come on the weekends to United and remain in contact with the doctors. They needed me fit and there was an FA Cup final which I almost played. That was our agreement and I kept to it. For me, I just wanted to get healthy and wanted to be able to play. I stuck to the agreement with Louis van Gaal, but obviously the board thought a little differently about that. It was just me that got moved to the youth dressing room. After that, I was training alone for at least 3 months with a fitness coach. I trained before and after the first team. No, Jose never let me train with the first team. I guess they wanted to get rid of me. In that moment, I was still super happy at United. I loved to wear the jersey. I loved it. I was thinking that maybe it was just a period. I will train now and keep myself fit and maybe one day they'll change their mind. My dream was to always step back out into Old Trafford. Schweinsteiger would force his way back into Mourinho's plans at Old Trafford later that season, albeit briefly, and featured in League Cup, FA Cup and Europa League ties at the start of 2017 before sealing a switch to the MLS in March. Neville, though, was left stunned by Schweinsteiger's accusations and admitted that in his opinion, as a former representative of the Professional Footballers Association, United could have faced legal consequences. That's illegal, responded Neville. I was the PFA union representative, and you're not allowed to do that. You can't dismiss someone like that. It's constructive dismissal in some ways. It's probably a few years too late. You should have come and seen me at the time. I'm stunned and embarrassed at what I'm hearing because I always think players leave clubs and people fall out, but there is a way to do things and a way to behave and act. I didn't talk to Erik ten Hag. I left Manchester United to feel loved. Andreas Pereira left Manchester United for Fulham in 2022. Andreas Pereira says he left Manchester United to go and feel loved, as he detailed how Sir Alex Ferguson lured him to Old Trafford from Erik ten Hag at PSV Eindhoven. The 28-year-old left the Northwest in the summer of 2022 after a series of loan spells at the likes of Granada, Valencia, Lazio before returning to Brazil with Flamengo. He enjoyed a fruitful spell back in his native Brazil and earned a move in the Premier League to the Cottagers. Pereira dodged talks with Erik ten Hag in a bid to see out his departure, and while there was question marks over his departure, he has proved the doubters wrong as Marco Silva's side continue to defy expectations in the English top flight. Leaving United, you're like, am I really going to do this? Am I sure? In the end, you're never 100% sure, really. Sometimes you think stay and have another go. Other times, you have to leave, said Pereira on Vibe with 5. I wanted to play. After COVID, I wanted to play. I was going crazy, wanting to play in the Premier League. I wanted to show that I was good enough. I was very close to joining Everton, and suddenly my father called me and said, Andreas, you never played in Brazil, you're Brazilian. I was like, where do we go then? The president of Flamengo jokingly called my dad and said, if he wants to come, he can come. Everyone at United said, you're crazy, you'll stay in Brazil, you'll never come back to Europe. Everyone in my family wanted me to come to Brazil, but they were like, no, what are you doing? I wanted to play in Brazil and want to feel loved. I didn't feel the love that I thought I should get. I wanted to feel loved by my own people, play close to my family and enjoy football. He added, this was when I came back to England, to Fulham. Erik ten Hag, he worked at PSV when I was 16 years old. Before leaving for United, the PSV president and Erik ten Hag came to speak to me and my dad and said, look, everything is set up for you at PSV. If you stay here, you're going to play in the first team. But I'd just been to United and spoke with Fergie. I was like, I'm going to United. That's why I didn't want to speak to Erik, because I knew him and I knew that, at the time, it was always a conversation, like, Andreas, stay here. You're not going to play every game, maybe one game in every 3, you'll be around the squad. That's not what I wanted to play. Erik ten Hag deserves one more season as Man United players' self-respect slammed. Former Manchester United defender Wes Brown believes Erik ten Hag deserves another year in charge at Old Trafford. Wes Brown believes Erik ten Hag could be in trouble if Manchester United fail to win the FA Cup, but says the Dutchman should be afforded more time in charge. After a string of disappointing showings this season, the former United defender also called on players to take more responsibility. Saturday's 2-2 draw away at AFC Bournemouth left them in 7th as they faced the threat of their worst-ever Premier League finish, following their 7th in 2013-14 under David Moyes. They sit 13 points behind 4th-placed Aston Villa and 10 off Tottenham Hotspur, who are 5th in the Premier League.